Okay, good morning. Today I will be covering linear scattering losses, then non-linear scattering losses, then fiber band loss. Okay, now to start with linear scattering losses. See these linear scattering mechanisms, so these will be causing the transfer of some optical power or even all of the optical power which will be contained within one propagating mode, which will be transmitting or transferring linearly. Okay, it means here now from one mode to different mode, even if it transfers, there the transfer will be in linear kind of nature. Okay, so this process will result into the attenuation of those light waves as they will be transferring to a leaky mode or to a radiation mode. Okay, so this will not continue to propagate within the fiber core. Okay, but it will be radiated from the fiber itself. Okay, now here we need to note that for this linear process, so there will be no change of frequency on scattering process. Okay, now this linear scattering is categorized into two types. One is Rayleigh scattering and one more is Mie scattering. Okay, now these both will be resulting non-ideal physical properties. Okay, now we'll quickly see what exactly is this Rayleigh scattering. Okay, so Rayleigh scattering is nothing but what it is the important or the dominant one of the type of loss. Okay, now this loss is a kind of intrinsic loss. Okay, now here this will be what absorbing with a low profile. Okay, and it will be within the what the bands UV band and IR band. Okay, where there is a low absorption. Okay, now in the previous class we have studied intrinsic and extrinsic losses, correct? Now this Rayleigh scattering will be what an important type of intrinsic loss. Okay, now again this will be resulting from inhomogeneities. Okay, now inhomogeneities means what there will be a mixture of different types of materials used in the fabrication process, correct? Now all those inhomogeneities will which will be of random nature. Okay, and of course these will be small compared with the wavelength of light, but still it will be a type of loss or a type of intrinsic loss due to which the Rayleigh scattering will occur. Okay, it means these inhomogeneities, what they will do, they will cause the refractive index to fluctuate. Okay, then what there will be some variations with respect to the light waves whatever we see over here. Okay, now you know the whatever the fiber material which we have been using here. Okay, usually this will be made of the what the silica glass. Okay, now when there is a what compositional variations or when there is a refractive index fluctuation. Okay, now it takes some amount of time to cool it. Okay, it means there will be completely what the variations. Okay, though due to those compositional variations or refractive index fluctuations, okay, it leads to inhomogeneities, and due to these inhomogeneities there will be intrinsic loss. Clear? Now next, now whatever the scattering here we have, which is due to the density fluctuations. Okay, in general we can call it as a density fluctuation. Okay, now this density fluctuation will be in all the directions. Okay, and this will be producing an attenuation somewhere which is proportional to 1 by lambda raised to 4. Now where lambda is what, it is the wavelength of a light wave which is propagating through this fiber and experiencing this kind of scattering. Okay, 1 divided by lambda raised to 4. Okay, now we have if we consider a single component glass. Okay, single component glass means a simple glass fiber is used to what fabricate this OFC cable. Okay, and the Rayleigh scattering formula for the single glass or single component glass will be given by gamma r. Okay, this gamma r stands for Rayleigh scattering coefficient. Okay, which will be equal to 8 pi cube in divided by 3 times lambda by 4. Now as I just mentioned, it is proportional to 1 divided by lambda raised to 4. Okay, now that I have been shown here. Okay, into n raised to 8 p square beta c k and tf. Okay, now these are all certain parameters on which the Rayleigh scattering coefficient will be dependent. Okay, now what is this gamma? Gamma is an optical wavelength, and n we already know this is the refractive index of the medium which is being involved or through which the light wave will be traveling. And p is what, it is a photoelastic coefficient. What is this photoelastic coefficient? Now as we just studied, due to the what inhomogeneities with respect to the density, as there is a compositional variation, okay, there will be some elastic kind of thing. Okay, now we need to measure that elasticity, and that will be measured by this photoelastic coefficient. Okay, that is given by the letter P. And next is we have beta C, which is the isothermal compressibility at a fictive temperature. You know, this is what is this fictive temperature? So fictive temperature is nothing but what? This is the temperature at which the glass can reach a state of thermal equilibrium. It means uh, even after supplying heavy temperature, it will be in a stable state. Okay. Now you know annealing process, correct? Now it is similar to that annealing process, okay, or anneal temperature. ANNEAL, anneal temperature. Okay. Now this fictive temperature is what? This is given by TF, and K is what? You know, that's a Boltzmann constant. Okay. Fictive temperature is what? It is a temperature at which the glass will reach a thermal equilibrium state. Okay. Next, the Rayleigh scattering coefficient, whatever we have, okay, that will be related to some loss factor here, that is transmissivity. Okay, and the transmissivity is given by this symbol, something like L kind of symbol. Okay, you can observe this equation, and that will be given by e raised to minus gamma RL, where gamma R is what? This is the Rayleigh scattering coefficient. Okay, and L will be what? It is the length of the fiber. Okay. Now this is what the fundamental component of this Rayleigh scattering. Okay, now this will be reduced by operating at longest possible wavelength. Okay, it means if I have a light wave traveling at a longer distance and for a longer wavelength, okay, now this Rayleigh scattering can be reduced. Okay. Now I hope you have understood what exactly is the Rayleigh scattering. Okay. Now we have some other points to study on this Rayleigh scattering. With respect to this, what we have one simple problem on this. Now we'll do that problem, very important problem. Okay, I will just read that problem, and also it is what visible on the screen. Okay, now what are all the given things? I will just list. Silica, it has a fictive temperature of 1400 K, and an isothermal compressibility is 7 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter square per Newton. Refractive index is given 1.46 and photoelastic coefficient is given 0.286. We need to determine what theoretical attenuation here, okay, which will be in terms of decibels per kilometer, and that will be due to what? The Rayleigh coefficient or Rayleigh scattering coefficient. Okay, now we have to calculate this what attenuation for three different types of wavelengths, that is 0.63, 1 and 1.3 micrometer, and even the Boltzmann constant is given. Okay, now see, this problem is simple but little tricky. We need to we need to have a knowledge of the previous things. Okay, at what is attenuation, how does that attenuation per dB kilometer will be calculated. Okay, all those what we have done yesterday, same thing will be carried out here. Okay, now we'll see quickly what is this problem. Okay, now as I just mentioned, gamma R, which is a Rayleigh scattering coefficient, which is given by 8 pi cube n raised to 8 p square beta c k into tf divided by 3 times lambda 4. 3 times what? Lambda raised to 4. Now all the values I will just substitute. 8 pi cube will be somewhere around 248. N raised to 8, if I just use that value and its power, you will be getting all these values. Okay, and divided by lambda raised to 4, because why? We don't know the value of lambda. Correct? I don't know the value of lambda here. See, lambda is not at all given here. You can just read the problem statement. Okay, the operating wavelength or even not, the cutoff wavelength is also not given. Of course, that is immaterial, I mean secondary, but the operating wavelength is not total given over here. Now from this, I need to calculate the lambda by 4, sorry, lambda raised to 4 or lambda. Now for this different value of lambda, we will be calculating what? The theoretical attenuation. Okay, now first, now if I just simplify this, I am going to get gamma R as 1.895 into 10 raised to minus 28 divided by lambda raised to 4 per meter. Okay, now he has asked to calculate what this gamma R, okay, for these three different wavelengths. First we'll go with 0.63. So 1.895 into 10 raised to minus 28 as it is divided by lambda is how much? 0.63. So 0.63 raised to 4. Okay, if we just calculate, you will be getting somewhere around 0.158 in 10 raised to minus 24. Okay, if we just simplify, you will be getting it as 1.19 milli per meter. Okay, now this is what? This is just a Rayleigh scattering coefficient, but I need to
calculate what? The attenuation. Attenuation in decibels per kilometer, which is due to the calculated value. Okay, now from this I have to calculate what? Alpha. Okay, now before we go to alpha, what do I need? One more thing. I need the loss factor, the transmissivity. Okay, now what is this transmissivity? Let's see. Now why I need this transmissivity or transmission loss factor for per kilometer, that we will understand here. Okay, see here, the transmissivity per kilometer is given by e raised to minus gamma L. Okay, gamma R I have calculated, which is 1.19 into 10 to minus 3. Okay, into L, what is the length of the fiber? 1 kilometer. It is given over here. Okay, for 1 kilometer I am calculating, which is 1 kilometer is nothing but what? 10 raised to 3 meters. Okay, that I have used over here. If you just simplify, that is e raised to this all, so it leads to 0.301. So this is your transmission loss factor or transmissivity. Okay, now we will use this transmissivity to calculate the attenuation, that is decibels per kilometer. Clear? That is what we have done over here. The transmissivity or transmission loss factor is calculated for 1 kilometer. Now this for 1 kilometer, which becomes per kilometer, will be used to calculate the attenuation. That attenuation is given by what? 10 into log of 1 by this what? Transmissivity. Okay, now 10 into log of 1 divided by 0.301. Okay, so if I simplify or if we take log of this to the base 10, I am going to get 5.2 decibels per kilometer. Okay, just remember these formulas, that's all. What all formulas? Rayleigh scattering coefficient, then what? Transmissivity, then attenuation. See, this attenuation we have done before, I mean in the yesterday's problem. Okay, the same concept. Next, similarly, we need to calculate for other wavelengths. That is for what? Another 2 wavelengths he has mentioned to calculate. That is 1 and 1.3 micrometers. Okay, for 1, what we will be calculating? For 1 micrometer. So 1 into 10 raised to minus 6 whole raised to 4, lambda raised to 4 it is. Correct? Now as per the formula, lambda raised to 4. Correct? Now which will be 10 raised to minus 24. If we simplify, I am going to get this. Now use this value for transmissivity. We will be getting 0.827. Now use that value for attenuation. Okay, 0.8 decibels per kilometer. Now similarly, go for the last wavelength, that is 1.3 micrometers. Okay, the same procedure will be followed, and you will be getting the attenuation as 0.3 decibels per kilometer. Okay, this is a very important problem in this module, which will be what? Calculating the Rayleigh scattering or the attenuation due to Rayleigh scattering. Okay, and the next we'll move with the Mie scattering. Now what is this Mie scattering? Again, this Mie scattering will be occurring due to inhomogeneities. Okay, now with respect to Rayleigh scattering, we have analyzed it in terms of some density or theoretical variations. Correct? Now this Mie scattering, which is again a linear scattering, so this will be comparable in size with the guided wavelength. It means it is something associated with size. Okay, next, and again these will be due to some imperfections in the fiber. Okay, imperfections means what? There will be some change what with respect to core cladding interface, then there will be change with respect to core cladding refractive index differences. Correct? Now which will be for an entire fiber length, or there will be some diameter fluctuations, or there will be some strains and bubbles. You know what these strains or bubbles are? Okay, these bubbles, the bubbles are nothing but what? These are some air kind of holes or air holes which will be present in the fiber. Okay, now due to all these some imperfections in the OFC cable or irregularities, okay, now due to which it gives you what? A linear scattering, okay, which is called as a Mie scattering, MIE scattering. Okay, now just remember this Mie scattering will be due to what? Inhomogeneities due to the imperfections or irregularities in interfaces like core cladding interface. Okay, and irregularities means there will be a change in refractive index continuously, not like a step. Correct? That may be one thing, or there may be some refractive index differences along the fiber length. I mean entire fiber length, whatever the optical link here we have. for entirely that particular optical link, there will be some difference. Okay. Now, due to all these reasons, we will be getting this mice scattering. Okay. Now, this mice scattering, usually this will be found in forward direction. Now, what is this forward direction? It means light wave will be moving in the forward direction. Correct? I know this, which is due to what? Inhomogeneities. Okay. Such scattering, or the scattering which is caused by inhomogeneities, mainly in the forward direction. Okay. Such scattering we call as mice scattering. Simple. Okay. Now, whatever the inhomogeneities just we defined, now we can reduce it. How? So those can be reduced by removing the imperfections during manufacturing process. Okay. The first very important concept to reduce the inhomogeneities, correct? In what the OFC cable can be, I can remove those imperfections during the glass manufacturing process. It means I have to ensure that there are no holes and there are no continuous irregularities at the set points. Okay, that care we need to take during the manufacturing process or the glass manufacturing process. Okay, the next is I need to carefully control the extrusion and coating of the fiber. Okay, see, the coating of the fiber means it is very, very important. Correct? It means coating of the fiber will be defined by the clad part and the exterior part of that cladding. Correct? Now, wherein there will be an interface with air. Here, it should be as thick as much as possible. Why? The light wave should not penetrate through cladding and it should not go into air and come back. Clear? Now, it means there will be again 3 refractive indices involved. That is Ri of core, Ri of cladding, then Ri of air. That should not happen. Correct? It means carefully I should control this extrusion. Means there should not be any external material or external wave coming back to the core part. So that thing we need to take care, or which will be used to reduce this inhomogeneity. And one more is I can increase the fiber guidance by increasing the relative refractive index difference. Okay, we have seen. Now, if I just increase this delta, what happens? We have already learned this in the first module. Okay, now using these 3, what I can reduce the inhomogeneities. In turn, I can reduce this mice scattering. Okay. Next, now we have seen the 2 different types of linear scatterings. Okay. Now, similarly, so it is not always, it will be only the linear kind of thing. Okay. Even we have some non-linear scattering losses. Okay. Now, with respect to linear, or why we studied linear channels, is see whatever the optical power we have just analyzed or studied. Okay, that will be based on a concept called alpha, which is equal to pi by p naught. Okay, if I just find the relation between pi and p naught, these both are directly relation. I mean, directly proportional. If pi increases, automatically p naught increases. Okay, now practically this won't be maintained all the times in an OFC cable. It means there will be some disproportionates, or there will be some non-linearity in power distribution. I hope you are understanding. Okay, it means there will be what? Some non-linear power distribution from starting point till end point throughout the fiber cable. Okay, these, I mean, due to such non-linearity, there will be some losses. Correct? Such losses we'll be calling as non-linear scattering losses. It means it purely causes the optical power from one mode to transfer to other mode at different frequencies. It means different types of waves may enter in, and those will be in either forward direction or in backward direction. Okay, at different frequencies. And there will be change in the optical power density. It means there will be change in the threshold power levels. Correct? It means the power is going to vary from starting till end. I mean, entire for an optical link. Okay. Such type of losses we usually call as what? Non-scattering losses. So this is completely opposite to what? The linear scattering loss. Now, linear and non-linear scattering loss. Now again we have types of what? The non-linear scattering losses. Now what these 2 are? The first one we'll be calling as SBS and another one is SRS. Okay, that is stimulated Brillouin scattering, and one more is stimulated Raman scattering. Okay, I hope you have heard the word Raman effect. Okay, now what these two are, we will be studying it quickly. Okay, now so with respect to what nonlinear scattering within these OFC cables, okay, these will be usually observed at high optical power densities, and these will be in a long single mode fibers. It means we are going to use, or we are going to observe such nonlinear scattering process at high power density. It means what the power density will be at higher level, and this will be in a single mode fiber, and it is a long single mode fiber. Okay, it means now we are going to observe there is a frequency shift. Now how we have phase shift, so similarly we are going to have a frequency shift. Okay, I hope you can understand what do you mean by shift in frequency. It means the waves which are traveling through this OFC cable, okay, experiencing the nonlinear scattering, will have different kind of waves with different frequencies. Clear? Such concept we will be usually calling it as shift in frequency. Clear? And these will be at a specific wavelength. Okay, it means whatever the light at transmission happens or the attenuation which is going to contribute here, that will be at a specific wavelengths for all those waves of different frequencies. Okay, now quickly we'll see what the SBS and SRS is. Okay, SBS stands for again stimulated Brillouin scattering. Okay, now so this is considered as the modulation of light through somewhat mechanical change. Now what is that mechanical change? And that is due to the temperature. It means thermal molecular vibrations within the what fiber. Now you know, if there is a high power density, and this high power density will give you a lot of heat, and due to that lot of heat, whatever the molecules present in the fiber, they start to vibrate at this thermal temperature. Correct? Now due to which there will be, or the whatever the light we have, that light starts to scatter in the upper band and the what lower band, and that will be separated from the incident light. Okay, I can easily observe the incident light and the light which is scattered in upper part and in the lower part or the lower side bands. Okay, now this scattering will be due to what? The temperature or the thermal molecular vibrations which will be found within the fiber. Okay, and which will give you the modulation of light. Okay, now what during this scattering process, okay, now we have one incident photon. It means we have one light wave, and due to this incident light wave, because of this scattering process, so it produces a phonon. Okay, phonon. Okay, PHONON. Okay, phonon. And now for this particular phonon which is produced, okay, now we also call it as a scattered photon. Okay, and it has an acoustic frequency. Clear? What do you mean by acoustic frequency? This frequency is something associated with what? Sound related. Okay, it means it is purely depending upon the sound factor. So this phonon is also called as a scattered photon. Okay, now this will be producing an optical frequency shift, and this will be varying with the sound wave, which varies with the acoustic wavelength. Okay, that is why the acoustic frequency word is used over here. Clear? Now, what is this? See, this scattered photon which has been produced, or phonon which has been produced due to this scattering process, correct? So it finds an optical frequency shift. Clear? Now, as we studied in general, nonlinear scattering losses will be producing a frequency shift, correct? Now, how exactly? Because of these SPS, I am going to get an optical frequency shift. Okay. Now, just to elaborate on this, so this will be varying with respect to the scattering angle. Now, you know what is the scattering angle. Since we are having so many waves entering into the OFC cable, all those waves will be propagating with respect to different angle, and they will be scattering in their own way, and it has got its own different scattering angles. Correct? And now this will be related to what? The frequency of the sound wave. It means we find different frequencies with respect to different waves experiencing or propagating with different scattering angle. And this, whatever the frequency shift we find, it will be usually maximum in the backward direction. Correct? And this frequency shift, usually this will be 0 in the forward direction. Now, what is this backward direction and forward direction? The light waves or the scattering waves, whichever we find, okay, they start to move in forward direction or in backward direction. Now, if I consider in forward direction, the frequency shift will be almost 0. Correct? But according to this non-linear scattering laws, I should have frequency shift, and that will be only observed and it will be maximum in the backward direction. Okay, next. Now this whatever the Brillouin scattering we have found, now we can calculate its threshold power. I mean, what this is usually at the high power density or highest power density levels. Now we can calculate its threshold power, assuming that the polarization state of the transmitted light is not maintained. It means we don't have to justify whatever the transmitted light here we have. So this is not in a polarized state. Okay, I hope you know what is polarized state. Okay, so that won't be maintained. Now we need to assume it, and I can write an equation for this threshold power PB as given by 4.4 into 10 raised to minus 3 into d square lambda square alpha in decibels into V, so much of watts. Okay, now what is d here? It's a diameter, I mean core diameter of fiber. Lambda is what? It is the operating wavelength, correct? And what is this alpha? This is the fiber attenuation, again it is in decibels per kilometer. And V is what? It is the bandwidth. Now it will be usually in gigahertz, or the source bandwidth in gigahertz. Okay, so this is an SBS. Okay, now for this SBS we can easily calculate the threshold power PB. Then, now similarly, how we studied SBS, okay, now we have SRS. Now, what is this SRS? It's a simulated Raman scattering. Okay, so this is similar to SBS. Okay, except one concept here. Now, what is that? Is high frequency optical phonon. See, there the phonon, whatever we had, so that was something associated with what? The frequency shift. Correct? Now here we are understanding this in terms of acoustic phonon. There in SBS it was high frequency optical phonon. Correct? Now here with respect to SRS or stimulated Raman scattering, the phonon is produced due to acoustic concept. Okay, it means during the scattering process or during the Raman scattering process, a phonon will be produced due to the acoustic phenomenon. Okay, and now with respect to SBS, what it was maximum only in the backward direction, correct? But with respect to SRS, it could be in both the directions. So it can occur either in forward direction or in backward directions with respect to the optical fiber. It means the directions or the scattering of light in Raman scattering, it could be in both the directions, forward as well as backward. Next, it's what the power threshold is, what up to 3 orders of magnitude, which is higher than SBS. Okay, now whatever PB we studied with respect to SBS, okay, now the PR will be 3 times of SBS. I mean 3 times, okay, 3 orders of magnitude. Okay, now what is its equation? We'll see here. So that PR is given by what? 5.9 into 10 raised to minus 2 into d square lambda alpha d, so much of watts. Okay, again these are all what? The direct equations, where d is core diameter, operating wavelength, that is lambda, and alpha dB is what? It is attenuation in decibels. Correct? So this is what to calculate the threshold level or the power threshold level for SRS, that is stimulated Raman scattering. Okay, now we have a problem. Okay, now this problem will be comparing the threshold optical fiber of SBS and of SRS. Okay, we'll quickly see this problem. Okay, simple. It is simple again. All those values will be given. Just we need to substitute it. Finally, we will be comparing both the thresholds. I mean, both the what optical power thresholds. Now first, we will list what are all the given things. Attenuation is given, how much? 0.5 decibels per kilometer, and the operating wavelength is given 1.3 micrometer. The fiber core diameter is given 6 micrometers, and the bandwidth is given 600 megahertz. Okay, just I need to compare the threshold optical powers of SBS and SRS at wavelength specified. It means the wavelength is constant. For the given wavelength, which is 1.3 micrometer, I need to compare the threshold powers of both scattering phenomena or process, SPS and SRS. Okay, first, PB is given by what? 4.4 into 10 raised to minus 3 into D square into lambda square into alpha and decibels into V. Just substitute those values. 4.4 into 10 raised to minus 3 as it is. D is 6 micro, 6 square. Then lambda is given 1.3 micro, it's a square. Next, what is this? 0.5. Attenuation 0.5. And the last one is V, which is 600 megahertz. Okay, we have manipulated it mathematically. Okay, if you just simplify, I'm going to get 80 milliwatts. Okay, so this is what the threshold power, optical power with respect to SPS for the given wavelength. Okay, now the same what for the same specified wavelength, we are going to calculate the threshold optical power for SRS, stimulated Raman scattering, whose value is given by 5.9 into 10 raised to minus 2 into D square into lambda into alpha dB. Okay, no bandwidth here. Correct? Yeah, no bandwidth here. Now we'll calculate it. 5.9 into 10 raised to minus 2 as it is. D is 6 square. Lambda is 1.3 square. Am I correct? Yeah, 1.3 micrometer square. And alpha is 0.5. Okay. See, I have not ignored, or we have not ignored micrometer. Okay, it will be over here. Okay. Now if you just simplify or calculate, I'm going to get 1.38 watts. Okay. Now what we can understand from this? Correct. As I just mentioned previously, what the threshold, the threshold of optical power of SRS, usually it will be it will be three orders of magnitude higher than SBS. Correct. The same thing we are going to get here. I can observe this. 80.3 milli. Correct, 80.3 milliwatts. You just try to find its order. I mean, a cube of it. You are going to get 1.3 something. Okay. The optical power level of SBS is 80 milliwatts, and with respect to SRS will be 1.38. It means this is 3 times higher in magnitude. Okay. Now this is what SRS. Okay, these are the two simple losses appearing with respect to what? The nonlinear scattering. Okay. Now, it is SPS and SRS. Okay, these are not usually observed in multimode fibers. Okay, so these relatively which are having the large core diameters. Okay, so these will be making the threshold optical power levels at higher levels. Okay, now we already discussed this. When there is a increase in what the core diameter, okay, it means acceptance cone will be high, then acceptance angle will be more, then numerical aperture will be more, due to which more amount of rays or light waves will enter in. Correct. Now, due to this loss or lot of waves entering in, that will give me higher what optical power levels. Correct. Now, in order to support with nonlinear scattering loss, I should have high optical power levels. Okay. Moreover, we should note that these threshold optical powers for both these scattering mechanisms. Okay. So these may be increased by what? The adjustment of the other parameters, that is what? D, lambda, alpha. Okay, even these D, lambda and alpha also plays an important role in changing the power factors of both scattering concept. Okay, that is D. If I change D, there will be a change in power. That is core diameter, as I just mentioned. If I decrease it, power will be less. Then if the operating wavelength is less, then also it will be reduced. If the, yeah, now you need to tell me how this P is associated with alpha. Again, this is directly proportional. Correct? See, all these three, what? The concepts or parameters are directly proportional to both the power levels. Okay. I hope you have understood the what, the linear scattering loss and non-linear scattering losses. Okay. So next we'll move with the fiber bend loss. Okay. Now with respect to OFC, as this should be flexible in nature, correct? Now it means we should have the bending capacity for an OFC cable. Even if I try to bend it, correct, I should not have any losses over that. But still, practically, this is not possible. It means some amount of losses happen or occurs due to this what bends or curves on their paths. See, if I just hold an OFC cable and if I just bend it, of course, the medium or the media which is involved wherein or through which the light wave is propagating, correct? There, the light wave experiences a bend or a curve. Correct? Now there, due to which there will be some radiation losses. Correct? Even these radiation losses should not happen at curves in OFC cables. Correct? Next. Now usually why there will be radiation losses at these curves or bends? Okay, that will be due to a field which is present. Okay, that field we will be calling it as evanescent field. Now, what is this evanescent field? See, this is a field at which uh, the waves will be traveling more than velocity of light. Correct? See, within the core medium, it has got its own velocity. I mean, a defined velocity is present in the core part. Correct? Next, if I go into cladding, again, we find there is a specific velocity defined with respect to waves, whichever tries to come in the cladding part. Correct? Now, apart from this cladding part, there will be some more area or the region where the what light waves will be traveling at a speed more than the velocity of light. Okay, even some part of the cladding is also involved in it. Such field, we will be calling it as an evanescent field. Okay, I will show you that figure. Yeah, here it is. Okay, it is something somewhere associated with the exterior of cladding part. Correct? Now, this field we will be calling as, I hope you can see the cursor where I am highlighting it. The evanescent field will be present somewhere around here. It means here the the light waves will be traveling at a speed with more than speed of light. Correct? See, here it is traveling with one velocity, and here, I mean, within the core, it is traveling with one more velocity. And okay, at the interface, it will be with some different velocity. Correct? Now, due to such what change in velocity concept, okay, there will be what loss, the radiation loss we can tell. Such what radiation losses at bends or see, this is again observed only at bends. See, when the cable is put straight, we don't find the evanescent field. Correct? Only at the bends or only at the curves, okay, we will find this radiation loss. It means the velocity tries to change at the bends or at the curves. Clear? And that what now, in order to calculate this loss, okay, or I want to represent this radiation attenuation constant or coefficient, and that equation is given by what? Alpha r. Okay, this is again an attenuation only. Attenuation coefficient. Correct? And this is due to the radiation loss. That is why it is what subscripted with R, alpha R. And this is something like C1 exponential of minus C2 and R. Now, where R is the radius of that curvature of that bend. How much amount it has bend, right? Now, that curvature's radius we are going to take. And C1 and C2, what these are the constants. Now, these C1 and C2 are completely independent of this radius. Okay. Now further, whatever the large bend loss which occurs in multimode fibers at critical radius of curvature RC, its equation is given by. Okay. Now, see, with respect to radius of curvature or the OFC cables, whatever we are trying to study, these has to be analyzed for both the modes. I mean, single mode as well as multi-mode. Clear? Now, whatever the above equation here we have written, we may assume it for a single mode. Correct? Now, if I just want to consider for multi-mode fibers, considering again the critical radius of curvature given by RC, okay, that RC value is given by 3n1 square lambda divided by 4 pi into the difference. You know, we know we already have studied this difference, n1 square minus n2 square. What is this difference? This is the relative refractive index difference. Yeah? In the module 1, we are already discussed this. Okay, the same difference. Now, why? See, you may ask why the difference came over here. Correct. Now, as we just discussed, the light wave will be propagating in core and in cladding. Correct. Now, do at the bending, do the work or considering the radius of curvature, I need to consider the different index or refractive index, correct, to be acting for this zone. Clear. Now that will be given by this equation. RC is approximately equal to 3 times n1 square into lambda divided by 4 pi into n1 square minus n2 square raised to 3 by 2. Okay. Now that is the equation. Now we can try to reduce this loss, or we'll be calling this as a potential macro bending loss. Now why this is macro bending loss? Okay, the bending may be at higher level, and due to that we will be getting some losses, and I can even reduce this loss. The first, how? Designing fibers with large relative refractive index difference. See here. Now, what the delta, that is n1 square minus n2 square, is at the denominator. If I just increase this difference, now what will happen to this RC? It reduces. I hope you are understanding. If I just increase the relative refractive index difference delta, which is equal to n1 square minus n2 square, if it is increasing, automatically the radius of curvature will reduce. Now, you know, when the radius of curvature reduces, the bend starts to decrease. Correct? Now, when there is no bend or when there is minimum amount of bend, then there will be no curve loss or bend loss. This is first factor to reduce the macro bending loss. One more, operating at the shortest wavelength possible. Correct? Now, I want a light wave to propagate at shortest wavelength. It means I don't want to use the light wave at highest wavelength. It means the wavelength will be short. Clear? If the wavelength is short, what will be your frequency? Frequency will be at the higher rate. Okay, this is one more measure using which the losses can be reduced. Okay, next. And that with respect to single mode fiber, even we have the critical radius of curvature. Okay, the above equation was only for what? The attenuation. Now we have written critical radius for multimode. Similarly, we can write the critical radius of curvature for single mode fiber. Now that equation is given by what? This 20 lambda divided by n1 minus n2 raised to 3 by 2 into 2.748 minus 0.996 lambda by lambda c whole raised to minus 3. Okay, so this is for single mode fibers. I mean the critical radius of curvature for single mode fiber. Okay, now here what is this lambda c? Cutoff wavelength. Now what is this cutoff wavelength? This, okay, this is a wavelength. Can anyone tell me what is this cutoff wavelength? Yeah. Okay, see, this is a wavelength till which something will happen and beyond which nothing will happen. Yeah, can anyone tell me that? Already we have discussed this, correct? See, this can be even described in terms of normalized frequency or cutoff normalized frequency, correct? That also we have studied, correct? Now again, what the critical radius of curvature for single mode fiber, again, this is dependent on N1 and N2, I mean the difference. If I decrease the difference, the radius of curvature will reduce, correct? Next, or even if I reduce this, what the okay, let give me the answer whether the cutoff wavelength should be reduced or should be increased to minimize the radius of curvature. Yes, can anyone tell me? On decreasing lambda c, RCS will decrease, or on increasing lambda c, RCS will decrease. Can anyone answer? So you can just analyze this term.
So on increasing RC decreases.
If I increase lambda c, what will happen to
RC also
RCS? Yeah, it increases, correct? It is raised to -3. Okay, simple mathematics involved here. Okay, next. We'll quickly solve a simple problem on this. Okay, then we'll stop. Now, what is that problem? Here we are going to estimate this critical RCS for this where the bending loss will occur for both the cases, for single mode as well as multi mode, I guess. Yes. Okay. Now again, this needs the concept or the ideas which we have discussed in the module 1. Okay. What is that? There are two. It's a two-step index fiber which is having the following parameters. Okay. A, it's a multi-mode fiber with a core Ri of 1.5 and delta is 3% and operating wavelength is 0.82 micrometers. Okay. Now we'll do this first. A. Now, okay. See here, what is given? Relative refractive index difference is given. That is 3%. Now already we know how to calculate this. Correct. Now delta is what? N1 square minus N2 square divided by 2 times N1 square. Okay, this is an intermediate result where we use to derive what the refractive index concept in module 1. Correct. Next. Now I will just take N2. I will make this N2 equal to, why? I know N1. I know core refractive index 1.5. I know, but I don't know N2. But I know delta. Correct. See here, I know delta, which is 3%, and I know N1, which is the diameter. Sorry, not diameter. The Ri of core. I know these both, N1 and delta. So I can easily calculate N2. Clear? Now, why we need N2? I need here to calculate radius of curvature. I hope it's clear. Okay. Next. Now we'll go with N2 calculation. Just convert this or make it N2 equal to, okay. So 2 times delta, take this 2 N1 to LHS. So it will be 2 delta N1 square. Correct? Then take minus N2 LHS, then N1. If you just transform this, you are going to get N2 square equal to N1 square minus 2 delta N1 square. Just simplify this. You are going to get N2 square as 2.115. Now use this value for RC, which is 3 N1 square lambda divided by 4 pi into the delta. Now that is N1 square minus N2 square to the power 1 by 2. Okay. 3. What is the N1? N1 is 1.5. It's a square means, see, 15 square is 225. So 1.5 it is, so 2.25 into lambda. Lambda is how much? It's given 0.82 micrometers. 0.82 micrometers. Correct? Divided by 4 pi. N1 square minus N2 square. You need to calculate this separately and just put it. That's all. So N1 square 1.5 square minus N2 square 2.115. 2.25 minus 2.115 will be somewhere around 0.135 under root. Clear? Simple calculation. That's all. Okay. Now if we simplify this, you are going to get this as 9 micrometer. Okay, this is the critical radius of curvature for multimode fiber. Okay, now we'll go with single mode fiber. Okay, now what is that with respect to single mode fiber? Okay, now to calculate single mode fiber, I need to consider this. Now here, what is change? See, earlier the index difference was 3%. Now here it is 0.3%. Please take care while using these both. Okay, this is 3% and here it is 0.3%. Okay, here 3% means it will be 0.03. Here 0.3% means it just 0.003. That's all. Then only that difference we can find over here. Yeah. Now, similarly, what? See here 0.003 multiplied by 2. So it will be 0.006. Okay, simplify. I'm going to get N2 as 2.23. Now use this to calculate the lambda C. Now why lambda C I have to calculate? See, as per the formula, I need that. Correct? Now I've say lambda is given, N2 calculated, N1 is given, but lambda C is unknown now. So I have to calculate that cutoff wavelength. Now we know already the formula which we have derived in module 1, the cutoff wavelength. Or what? This is with respect to V, or the cutoff normalized frequency V is equal to. What is that? V is equal to 2 pi by lambda C AN1 into root of 2 delta, correct? The same equation we have just rewritten in this way. I want cutoff wavelength. So lambda C is equal to 2 pi AN1 into square root of 2 delta divided by V. Now we have already defined V value with respect to single mode fiber. Correct? 2.405. That is constant and fixed for what? OFC cable in single mode. And for calculation of cutoff wavelength 2.405. Okay, if you just substitute all those given values, you're going to get cutoff wavelength as 1.214. Now finally just use this lambda C value here. Correct? Now just substitute all those given values. 1.55 micro, what is this? 0.043, the difference. Okay, by substituting all those different values. Okay, again this is just direct substitution, that's all. Only here we have calculated lambda C, that's all. Done. So I am going to get radius of curvature for single mode as 34 millimeter. What is earlier? It is 9 micrometer and this is 34 millimeter. Correct? Now, which is more? 34 millimeter is more or 9 micrometer is more? Yeah, which is more? Can anyone tell me? Whose radius of curvature is more? Either it is for single mode or for multi-mode. Which value is more? 9 micrometer is more or 34 millimeter is more? Yeah. See, 34 is more, correct? Now the what? The critical radius of curvature with respect to multi-mode is less, which is 9 micrometers. Extremely small. But if I consider single mode, it is 34 so which will cause you severe attenuation of what? The light wave which is propagating at these bends. Clear? Okay. What is telling is, yes, analyze this problem and given something. Now what is finally telling? It is important that microscopic bands with radii of curvature, which is approximating to fiber radius, are not produced in fiber cabling process. Okay. So these such type of bands will be calling as micro bands. Why? I have the minimum extremely small RC over there. Such type of bands will be calling as micro bands. If it is more, it will be macro bands. That's all. Okay. Okay then. In the next class, we'll move with the next concept, dispersion. Very important concept. Okay. Just inform your friends to attend. Okay. This is very important one, dispersion. Okay, then we'll stop here. Thank you. 1 minute, I'll just
Thank
take the
you.
attendance. I'll download that attendance. It is 7. Okay. Okay, thank you.